Have you ever completely blown up your own life, destroyed a perfectly good relationship, quit a job, or burned a bridge, and looking back, you have absolutely no idea why you did it? Maybe you tell yourself it's just self-sabotage, but what if the anger or the panic that destroyed that moment wasn't even yours? What if you're carrying the emotional luggage of a family system that you barely even know exists, and you're just the one paying the toll? In this masterclass, we're going to look at the year pillar in your BaZi chart, that's your Chinese astrological chart, to understand how we inherit ancestral luggage. By the way, we all do. More importantly, we're going to talk about the spiritual pact that you made before you were born and how to stop being the dumping ground for your family's unresolved pain. Years ago, I was in a relationship with a woman I cared for very deeply. Out of nowhere, it shattered. She was suddenly consumed by an overwhelming anger. But that anger didn't match our reality. She wasn't fighting me in the here and now. She was fighting a ghost. When I looked at her BaZi chart, I saw exactly what happened. The energy of that specific calendar year had violently activated her year pillar, the pillar that represents your ancestors. In her, it had triggered a deep systemic rage that had been passed down through the feminine line of her family. But knowing this, unfortunately, didn't save us. In fact, for me, it made it even more heartbreaking because I was cast in a totally helpless position of just witnessing, and I had to stand there and watch as an activated trauma hijacked her nervous system and ultimately tore apart what was otherwise a perfectly fine relationship. She couldn't hear me. She couldn't truly see me, because in those moments, she wasn't reacting to me at all. She was reacting to a trauma that unfortunately wasn't even hers. Now, if you're new to this, you might be highly skeptical. You might be thinking, I'm just making this up to explain away a breakup. But this phenomenon is actually widely recognized outside of Chinese metaphysics. While Carl Jung famously talked about the collective unconscious, the brilliant psychoanalyst Leopold Szondi specifically mapped out the familial unconscious, proving that the unresolved conflicts of our ancestors secretly dictate our choices today. Modern therapies like Bert Hellinger's family constellations are built entirely on recognizing these exact hidden family dynamics. We inherit emotional debts. It is a psychological reality. But when you realize this is happening to you, your first instinct is probably fear. You might think that is so unfair. The universe is cold and sadistic, and it forces us to carry the pain of people we didn't even know. But you're not a victim of your bloodline. To understand why this happens, we have to look through the lens of Chinese metaphysics, which operates on the vision that the soul experiences multiple lifetimes. If we entertain that idea for a moment, think of those lifetimes the same way you would think of consecutive days and nights. If you wake up on a Tuesday morning with a terrible hangover, you don't curse the universe for being sadistic, right? You understand that you're experiencing the consequences of the fact that you drank too much on Monday night. Your spiritual development operates the exact same way. Whatever you left unfinished yesterday, you wake up to today in this lifetime. So we're not born into our specific families by accident or bad luck. We inherit our family's emotional luggage through the law of resonance. We attract a family system with all its specific traumas and behavioral loops because it perfectly resonates with the unfinished spiritual business we brought with us. In BaZi, the year pillar represents this ancestral environment. It is the board you're playing on. Imagine a student at a chess club sitting down with a Grandmaster. Now, the master sets up a chess problem on the board. The pieces are arranged in a highly complex, difficult, and specific scenario. As the student, it doesn't matter how the pieces got there. It doesn't matter what happened in the previous moves. Your only job as the student is to sit in the chair, look at the board as it is, and solve the puzzle. Why? Because the struggle of solving that specific puzzle cultivates your skills, your family system, your ancestors, the luggage you were born into. That is your chess problem. The pieces were set up exactly the way they needed to be to trigger your ultimate spiritual growth. Before we even take a physical body, Chinese Metaphysics suggests we make a pact with Divinity. The universe binds itself to keep us happy, healthy, and abundant, but only provided we keep our end of the bargain. And our end of the bargain is to manifest the potential we were endowed with. We have to learn our life lessons on our curriculum. Your goal in life is not just to cleverly dodge trauma and avoid pain that would be just highly hedonistic and meaningless. If you just run away from the pain of your family system, you fail the chess problem. The goal is to reach into that trauma, face the ancestral luggage your year pillar has presented you with, and extract the nourishing nugget of spiritual gold hidden inside it. The lesson is the goal. This is where people get confused. They think they have to heal their entire family lineage, or conversely, just carry it with them. No, you don't. You're not responsible for hearing your ancestors' trauma. You're only responsible for hearing your resonance with it. Through BaZi, we look at the year pillar to understand exactly what the chess problem is. We identify the life lesson you came here to learn. But here's the brutal truth about healing. Merely knowing what your lesson is cognitively is almost irrelevant if you don't have the tools to actually embody it. You cannot just think your way out of a somatic resonance. This is why Karmic Acupuncture is such an absolutely incredible tool. It allows us to bypass the analytical mind and directly treat the physical body. We literally install the lesson into your being. We transform abstract knowledge into visceral, physical healing in the here and now. We help the nervous system release the hangover of the past. And once your body embodies the lesson, the resonance breaks. The trauma stops manifesting through your life, and as a natural consequence, your suffering ends. You've fulfilled your pact with Divinity. Your year pillar tells us what you inherited from your ancestors. But as we move closer to the core of who you are, we hit the month pillar. This is the archetype of the nest you grew up in, your home, your relationship with your primary caregivers, and why the biggest imbalance in your chart is actually your greatest superpower. And that is our next masterclass. If you're ready to solve the puzzle of your own life and to understand how to tap into that power of yours that now seems to be your biggest problem, your biggest vulnerability, see me in the next video. See you there.